Hello, welcome to the Frontline Swordcast. I'll be your host, Swkoll, and today we're looking at a game between BC Blackheart and Roslow on this map, which I haven't really seen before, but it looks really interesting. Got a lot of choke points, a lot of areas of contention, and nice ledges to do interesting things with. We do have BC Blackheart taking up UEF in the southeastern corner. And we have Roslow taking up Cybern in the top western corner. Cybern versus UEF is a very nice matchup, in my honest opinion. You have the health of the UEF versus the speed. The Mantis, it really has a lot of interesting possibilities with two factions that are more or less the same. UEF and Cybern, probably the closest of any two factions to each other. Have a lot of the same tools that are slightly different, which can make for a very interesting game. BC Blackheart going second land with 5 P-gens. Meanwhile, Roslow going to get that second land with his own 5 P-gens. As we note, there's a lot of mass outside of each player's base, with some trees all around the map. Of course, Roslow, one of these players that really likes these high reclaim maps, and utilizing that reclaim in his build. BC Blackheart with a very aggressive mech marine gun go directly behind Roslow's base, looking for engineers to kill. Will Roslow see that? Looks like he did. Immediately sending Mantis out there. That mech marine will have to run. Roslow trying to establish an early factory. We'll see if that mech marine does deny that. Meanwhile, Blackheart keeping on the aggression with a tank to the south. Going to be putting on a lot of pressure. Mech marine does come in. Successful kill on Roslow's engineer. So an interesting note. BC Blackheart finishing up that hydro, boosting up his economy. Roslow going to get that hydro much later, after getting a lot more basic P-gens for his third air. Looks like third, fourth air out of Roslow. Well, while Blackheart is going to go all land. Blackheart with a slightly more aggressive ACU going to go through the bottom. Meanwhile, this Mantis going to prevent this mech marine from doing really anything important now. Not too many options for it. So with nice expanding engineers, along with Blackheart. Blackheart being a little more aggressive right now. Let's see if Roslow can make up for it by having more build capacity and using this air factory. It's going bomber inti. Bomber going down immediately to the south, looking for this engineer. You know, Blackheart trying to sneak a tank into the back of the base. 2 Mantis nearby. That tank isn't going far. Still don't know what's causing that sound issue. It's really annoying. At least for me. But it tends to go away, so I don't know. So Roslow keeping his bomber to the south. Might be looking to try and kill something with that. We'll have to wait and see. So right now, lots of little engagements going on. Blackheart's ACU being attacked by a few Mantis. Meanwhile, we have Blackheart pushing north with his tanks. Roslow chasing raiding tanks away with his Mantis. Bomber's coming around, trying to get a hit on this engineer, but Hill's making it difficult. Looks like Blackheart trying a dodge here. Not successful. Spread on that Cybern bomber was too good. Was not really affected by the Hill at all. You're right together. But a successful raid from Blackheart on this engineer. Roslow finishing up that second hydro, giving him a huge energy boost if we look at that. Currently running 2 air factories, 4 land factories, and just a lot of build capacity on that air. Definitely going to win air control relatively easily. More bombs coming out from Roslow, bringing that up to 3 kills on that bomber, taking out a radar, along with any NGs in that area. Or the only NG in that area. Looks like Roslow sneaking an NG by these tanks. We're operating without radar and engagement to defend the hydro. Looks like Blackheart will retreat. Reinforcements nearby. So tanks all over the place for these players. None of them with any very clear answers on what they should be doing. But Blackheart should be able to take out this Hydro. We'll see what Roslo chooses to use all this build capacity he's putting into air. Be teching to Tech 2. Looks like there is a Tech 2 land factory from Roslo. Trying to get that out. But with all this focus on air and all this focus on T2 land, can he really do anything? He's losing map control rather quickly. And he's a major force of tanks about to show up on his doorstep. Roslo, just lots of power, not enough mass. Have to use his ACU to hold this off as long as possible. Neither player onto the ledge yet. Blackheart going into the air. He's been there for a while, but just wanted to point that out. So with heavy air control, until unless the lens these Santies don't land them as low. Don't do it. Either way, it shouldn't matter too much. As Roslo keeping these tanks at bay. Having to win these battles up top, but just massive force from VC Blackheart. VC Blackheart having to mix in a few mobile AAs. But that's still not the total cost of what Roslo's are doing. Roslo's taking a T2 mass extractor. We'll see if that's worth it. T2 land is finished. Immediately going to the Rhinos. One of the more interesting options here. Alternatively, he could have gone for the Hoplite to get that range on the T1 land. Looks like Blackheart building a more offensive position. Static AA, factories, just going all out spam on this. See what he's doing. Is Blackheart power stalling? Blackheart he's in a decent spot for power. Not too shabby. But great mass income, has the map control that he needs. He's got defensive structures. He's got factories. Doesn't really have air, but for what he does have, it is very good. Of course, Roslo now making it up onto the top ledge of the map. A bit of reclaim here. Now it looks like Roslo going to be engaging Blackheart's ACU and all his forces. Rhinos. Let's see what the Rhinos are. Does Blackheart have overcharge? He does. And that makes single Rhinos not nearly as effective as Slow might be hoping. See how Slow chooses to defend against this push. You can always keep the Rhinos behind these air factories if he retreats that far. Looks like Blackheart doing his thing, Slow doing his thing. Two Rhinos come in, hiding, trying to stay out of range of Blackheart's ACU. They're doing an excellent job of trying to thin out these tanks. Overcharges from Roslo. An overcharge. Either way, Rhino's doing an excellent cleanup job here, and Blackheart left with mostly mobile AAs. He'll be wanting to retreat after this, as he appears to have finally run out of tanks. Blackheart's momentum isn't really there anymore. Emergency T1 point defense from Roslo. He still doesn't have a point defense template. Roslo, good with the program. But no. Blackheart now being forced away by all those tanks. Let's look at his eco health. Not really enough energy to constantly overcharge one overcharge on a Rhino. Looks like Blackheart definitely going to have to retreat away from the Slow's base. And Slow now with a lot of mass to make up for all this map control that Blackheart currently has. Blackheart working off twice the eco. I don't see any T2 mechs though. That's purely going into tanks. Roslo up to 18 kills on the ACU, 15 for Blackheart. Nice overcharge. So getting up radars. Blackheart with very offensive point defense. He's going to lose his Hydros. He needs his Hydros. Actually, not really, but he could. They're useful. Looks like Slow doing something with his air control. Gestures out and about. Maybe looking to put pressure on Blackheart. Or just his AC, or just his map control. This mostly undefended map control could easily be a target. So, looks like Slow going into an air fight, but lots of mobile AAs. Looks like Slow will still be able to win it. Blackheart giving up on energy production in another fight. 2 Rhinos in this one. Blackheart just not enough power to keep the overcharges coming. I'm not sure where Blackheart hopes to go with this. Overcharge is hitting the ACU. Slow down below 4,000 health. But Blackheart without really any momentum to push. He always has to worry about Jesters being pulled in to snipe him. He goes down very low. But meanwhile, these Jesters are just going to be content taking away Blackheart's map control, as he has no real factories up in this position, but a huge wave of forces now setting out for Blackheart's base towards the top. Blackheart just retreating as the Rhino force grows. They're trying to get an overcharge in here. Successfully gets 1 Rhino. Forced to retreat yet again. Blackheart wasting mass in favor of getting those overcharges out slightly faster. And a beautiful overcharge takes out those 3 Rhinos. It's actually hugely important. Blackheart can now afford to continue to control this area, but Rhinos looking to avoid the ACU. Jesters taking out the point defense established by Blackheart. Clear paths to push. Jesters in the back, taking out Blackheart's Hydro. I'm going to go after his power, because that is what is running his overcharges. Looks like Blackheart building more forward factories. Use more spam. Hoping to overwhelm Roslow's ACU and T2 land forces. So with a nice bit of a power spam. Looks like Roslow winning battles all over the map. Blackheart losing his map control to Jesters. This area is all open. This area is almost all open. Blackheart's forced into a 50-50 unit composition, with half of it being mobile AA. It's never a good thing. And Roslow just content to reclaim. 8k reclaim to 2k reclaim. Roslow definitely in a great position here. With the 2 air factories, Jesters. Blackheart losing his Hydro, losing his air factory. Now getting attacked by Rhinos as he runs far forward. Slowed is considering getting a T2 point defense. Definitely rushing up more mobile T1 point defense. Mobile or just point defense. Attempt to run by Blackheart. Multiple Rhinos, lots of Jesters, and the ACU in this position, but that's going to force lots of units away. Looks like these Jesters are brought out to deal with the artillery, while the ACU and Rhinos take out this force. Looks like Blackheart's air factory will fall. Blackheart still with the power advantage, but this attack definitely a failure. Blackheart yet again left without much to do, trying to get more reclaim up. More T1 point defenses from Slow. Don't know if I said it, but Blackheart may be considering getting a, or Slow considering getting a Tick 2 point defense. Continuous raiding. Slow looks like he might actually get ahead now. Slow taking more T2 mexes on this, and Blackheart running directly into Slow's base, overcharging power. This is quite dangerous. Another overcharge coming out, just no respect here, trying to do the death push that he needs. Slow, very low, getting T2. I guess it's probably stealth, or even T2 engineering. But so many Rhinos here, hiding all between the buildings. Jesters brought in. Blackheart taking lots of damage, and these forces can't last forever. Slow lost a lot of power in that. See what he can do. Blackheart's overcharge is definitely keeping him in the game right now. Slow asking him, WTF are you doing with the ACU? This Blackheart takes a lot of damage. Gets a nice veterancy. Keeping the overcharges going. Blackheart going down even further. Slow completes his T2 engineering. That Jester's been operating so long it's out of fuel. Blackheart in the red, retreats. But there's lots of mobile AA comes in, saving Blackheart's ACU. There's no Rhinos left. They've all been overcharged. Blackheart with so much T1 power, he can afford to overcharge almost instantly as soon as it comes off cooldown. There's so much mess. And this attack, it's not going anywhere either. There's just enough Jesters and Rhinos to keep him in the game. This is crazy. Overcharge hit factory. These are Rhino's Blackheart, you know better. But slow with the health, with the regen. Try pushing aggressively on BC Blackheart. It is one of the advantages of defending at home. You get to use factories as cover. Weiner's coming in, taking out the static defenses. Let's see, does Low have overcharge? No, he does not. He doesn't really have the power to do it either, but he has gestures to take out 2 point defense. Or he might have had gestures if there weren't more AA than one knows what to deal with. Slow continuing his heroic defense against the first BC Blackheart. BC Blackheart very low. He just doesn't care. Overcharge is going out. Left, right, and center. Rhinos just don't know what to do. They're dying to overcharges. Ruslo says, why? Why would you do this to me, Blackheart? More Rhinos being brought in, but Blackheart keeping the Rhino numbers slow, or low, and a massive attack from Blackheart on the right side. Ruslo has to retreat. He can't continue his aggression. Fighting this force, he has to fight that force and run away from the T1 point defense. More T1 point defense trying to be constructed by Ruslo, who has managed to keep his power mostly alive for this entire game. But Blackheart's still sitting on that map control, still not teching at place so bad. Ruslo keeping himself in the game. But now, tanks have arrived. T1 point defenses have been constructed though. By that I mean one. Another huge push from Blackheart into the base. This could be the push that kills him. But then again, there's no artillery. Slight damage to power is done, but Ruslo's ACU with Rhinos and T1 point defense holding it off yet again. No significant damage done. Well, 2 factories lost, but they were only T1 factories. And they can be reclaimed. Another push from Blackheart, sending all his units, all of the tanks in the world. Slow with the T2 rush that never stops. This is just one continuous T2 rush, because he's never secured his T2 land position. Ruslo with the second T2 land factory. And twice the Rhino production. Blackheart with the offensive position. There's so many tanks coming in. So much map control. Ruslo really needs to control this. And Blackheart's raiding force is running into T1 point defense, giving it a few more kills. Single Rhino left to clean up the damage. And these Rhinos just getting vet. Looks like Slow getting some upgrade, possibly stealth. That's what I imagine would be. Or he's switching to gun, that's another option. But Blackheart with, looks like, stealth generator. With T2 point defenses being constructed by the ACU, Slow's gonna have to think of something new to do. Once we get some T2 point defenses of zone or mobile missile launchers, immediately switching to mobile missile launcher production to deal with this Tech 2 point defense. Looks like Slow's air factory may fall. His T1 basic defenses are down. Trying to get those T2 point defenses up. Rhino's in the base. There's not much health left here. There's a continuous just tank pushes upon tank pushes by Blackheart, all of them failing. Slow, massive power up on this cliff here. So as long as he can keep his eco alive with reclaim, he can do whatever he wants. Air production up here as well to continue the gesture harassment, denying Blackheart that eco he needs. The UEF just don't have options to deal with these things unless they can kill them. Still no T2 land from BC Blackheart. T2 point defense is firing directly at the base. T2 point defense is trying to keep these tanks away. They're just so good. So good, man. You see Blackheart just can't stop. Another massive tank push. This ACU continues being Rambo. These players, it's absolutely nuts. T2 point defense is getting bed. Most of the Rhinos have been cleared out, but there's still enough here to hold the line. Mobile missile launchers now being used. Take out the remaining T2 point defenses that Blackheart has placed defensively. T2 point defense shooting at Blackheart. Overcharges coming out, killing the last of Slow's defenses. Slow just left with 3 Rhinos, 5 mobile missile launchers, a little bit of hope. Slow's ACU up to 79 kills. Blackheart sitting at 58 kills. Overcharges the T2 land HQ. No longer capable of making T2 units rise low. He needs to think of something he's got. He's going T2 power, retreating with his, or T2 air, retreating with the ACU. Kiting with Rhinos, using personal stealth. Roslow, not really any access to reclaim anymore, running off of plus 10 mass. Getting a T2 transport for his ACU. Roslow saying this is not over yet. He can still retreat. Even if there's nowhere left to run, he can still climb away. Fly away on his own personal chariot. Blackheart establishing a position to secure this area. Blackheart getting a flak. Maybe anticipating a bit of funny business. As Blackheart choosing not to go directly after the ACU. Matches being used as engineers due to lack of build capacity. T1 transports being constructed, maybe to ferry the Rhinos about. Slow losing his hydro. But the T2 transport is complete. Scouts are brought in. There's no capacity for Blackheart to necessarily kill this. Then again, does he really need to? Looks like Slow sending his ACU not up onto the ledge, but in fact way over here to this position, out of the way of the tanks. But little does he know there's actually a massive tank force. Blackheart a bit confused about what's going on. Slow does take landed in this position. Looks like the forces of Slow holding out their last stand at the T1 point defense. Looks like the T2 transport will get up and leave. T production trying to stay in there. Roslow establishing a position with everything he's got, which isn't all that much. Roslow, 9 mass per second, building inties. The T1 point defense should keep the force at bay for a little bit. Rhinos, that's a 23 kill Rhino. That's a 22 kill Rhino. This Rhinos just continuously kite the forces. T1 point defense goes down. Roslow setting up his defenses. Just doesn't have any mass. He's finally secured this ledge. Looks like Slow sending NGs over to the top for reclaim and mexes. I really want to see if Slow can win this. I'm feeling that he can. Slow loading Mantis into a T2 transport. Mobile missile launchers taking out the point defense. Focus firing her down so that the Rhinos may live. Slow now finding this massive T1 land push from Blackheart. He's going to have to force to retreat into his remaining Rhinos. Does he bring his... Well, NGs and everything being dropped, but he may need that T2 transport back, as he is getting surrounded by so many forces. An air fight goes down. It looks like Blackheart does in fact win air for the first time in 24 minutes. 91 kills on the ACU. The Rhinos meet up with the ACU for one last party. But wait, there's a drop directly into the firefight. Mantis and Engineers. He dropped one Rhino, goes down. But are the Mantis enough? The T2 transport falls. Mantis almost instantly die. Slow up to 99 kills. This is great. Zlo without any rhinos. Just a T2 stealth ACU. 105 kills. I hate to say it, but I think this may be the end for Zlo. So I hope you enjoyed this game. Wait, no, I shouldn't conclude. Zlo could still win this. He just needs to micro. No. It's GG. A very funny game from BC Blackheart and Zlo. BC Blackheart does end up losing, or Zlo ends up losing to Blackheart's superior build more tank strategy. So I hope you enjoyed this cast, and good night.